Since its publication a few weeks ago, Thomas Piketty's massive book, Capital in the 21st Century, has become the #1 bestseller on Amazon.com. It's obviously touched a nerve with a public concerned about growing income inequality, both in the U.S. and abroad. James Pethokoukis is the money and markets columnist and blogger at the conservative-leaning AEI. He says the 700-page book is well worth reading no matter what your ideological views. In his latest column, he responds to Piketty's income inequality alarmism, as he calls it, and offers some different solutions to the problems of growing inequality. Joining us now from Washington. So James, before we get into the solutions and maybe some of the ideological issues you might have with the book, why do you think this 700-page book is #1 on Amazon? I mean, I'm pretty shocked that it's caused such a ruckus.
Well, it seems to be sort of the right book at the right time. I mean, when you have the President of the United States saying that income inequality is the defining economic challenge of our time, I think that's going to filter down to the public. Plus, there's certainly been a lot of news stories and data that support the fact that inequality has been rising. And remember, we're still sort of in the aftermath of this Great Recession. People are trying to figure out, what went wrong. Did inequality, play a role? So I think for all those factors, it's just generally a topic people are super interested in right now.
But what is your view? Obviously, he has some compelling data on inequality, on what is likely to happen with inequality, and that it's going to get worse. I mean, how should we take this information?
Well, it is a long book. It is a sweeping history over the past 200 years, and it makes a prediction. It's a book that makes a forecast based on a lot of assumptions to come up with a particular scenario. And as you mentioned, that scenario is that income inequality and wealth inequality will continue to increase, so much so that his solution is to have huge taxes on income and wealth. Now, you have to sort of buy his assumptions. If you don't agree with his assumptions, particularly about economic growth and sort of the rate of return on capital or wealth, if you question those assumptions, then you're going to come up with a different scenario. And there are certainly very smart economists who think he's dead on, and also some pretty smart people who think he has it wrong. So sort of the way I'm approaching it is, if you assume he's right or wrong, there are still lots of things you would want to do anyways that would make that scenario not happen, but would still be good for the economy.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that, because I'm pretty sure you don't agree that we need sharply higher tax rates or any kind of wealth tax. So what are some of the solutions you think that we should put into place?
Now, to be fair, Piketty himself doubts that his solution set, which is 80% taxes on income and wealth, is likely to happen. So even his ideas, he doesn't think can happen. What I think we should do is, first of all, focus on boosting economic growth. I think what you want to do is, you want to boost innovation. You also want to have more people in the workforce. So anything you do to sort of boost fertility rates as well as the number of people actually working, those are the kind of ideas you want to look at. Also, obviously increase education. Some degree there's inequality. It's an education argument as well, that we just aren't producing enough workers with the skills to take advantage of sort of where technology is going. So he himself has said if you focus on those things, it would help alleviate the problem.
This is a really simple question, but we hear so much about inequality being an issue, and it resonates with people because I think so many are dealing with stagnant wages or not having a job and seeing these income gains going to the 0.01%. But very simply, why does inequality matter in an economy like the U.S.?
Listen, if the economy is growing fast enough, then even inequality can increase, but everybody else can still have wage gains as well. And what you worry about is that you get worried so much about what the top 1% or 0.1% are doing that you're going to raise taxes or raise regulations, and it's going to slow growth. The concern is that if you have one small slice of the population sort of grabbing all the gains and stagnation for everybody else. We've seen some stagnation recently. It doesn't mean we're going to have it in the future, but I think it's something we have to pay attention to. One
of the things that stuck out for me when I talked to him is he made the point that the history of post-World War II America, that's the anomaly. That for human history, the norm has been a few people have a lot and most people have very little. So is it maybe that we're just going back to the way things, quote unquote, have always been?
Well, really the norm of human history is no economic growth at all. And some people are worried that's what we're going to go into. And Piketty gets a little bit of that, saying that growth is going to slow. If we can keep economic growth high, again, there'll be a lot more to distribute for everybody.